times in the other group, as people weren't as eager to ban Hunter as we thought it were. But this time, today is the first we'll be seeing Hunter, as far as I recall.
Yeah, I agree. This is the first time, and Hype is playing the bow version with I think 4 traps. He is playing double freezing trap and only one explosive trap, which is different than the hunters we've seen yesterday. And this start is pretty nice. He has Mad Scientist, he has the coin, he has the bow, and Savannah Highmane double kill command. This is those cards might not be that useful right now, but they are excellent removal cards, and also you might use them as burst card when the game advances. On the other hand, Haibara, well, a 1/5 Northshire Cleric is pretty good if your opponent doesn't have a Hunter's Mark.
Yeah, it's good enough to keep the draws going, which is very important. So that way, you're able to kind of draw into the removal necessary. There's 2 high mains that are out for hyped, which means gonna need like Shadow Word Deaths, Holy Nova to kill off the hyenas. All these kinds of cards are very relevant, and so getting the Northshire Cleric to stick is very important for Haibara.
Well, he certainly wants to draw as many cards as possible. But being hyped in here, how do you counter this? If you just play Mad Scientist, then he will draw a card. Like you don't want Haibara to draw any cards in here. Dark Cultist is a huge draw. Well, he had one, but still, he's just developing his board. Now he has a turn 4 play, which is pretty important. He can follow up with Sludge Belcher and the turn 6 Holy Fire. This curve is pretty nice for a priest.
Yeah, it's good so that way he can kind of fill the board, but always in the back of your mind, you're kind of worried about Unleash the Hounds with Starving Buzzard, and Hype does have one piece of it already. But also, as another token, the fact is, Dark Cultist is double Dark Cultist is pretty resistant to Unleash the Hounds, because then he can't, or he has to have double Hunter's Mark. There's just a lot of health to play with here.
Yeah, it might be actually pretty tough to handle being a hunter. And how do you even deal with this? You'll have to play minions at some point. And now you turn 4. It's not really exciting. It's do you do something crazy like Haunted Creeper and coin kill command to kill the 1/5? I don't think so.
No, I think you're coining out a high main next turn.
Yeah, so you definitely keep the coin. But if you keep the coin, what do? You need to start playing cards. Mad Scientist is something that will net a card for your opponent, but on the other hand, if it's dead, maybe you will get a freezing trap, which might be cool. And he is running 2 freezing traps.
Yeah, now to the point where he's also fearful of Holy Nova. So dropping Haunted Creeper and Mad Scientist is actually pretty poor. In which case, the only play left is to use Kill Command directly on something and then just kill off something with the bow. So most likely Northshire Cleric, just by deduction.
It seems like a waste, right?
Oh, it does.
But you have to do it. You have to deny the draw. Your opponent has a cool board, but he only has 4 cards in his hand. So if you're able to outlast him and outdraw him, and you have all those good cards like Savannah Highmanes that will give you value, because next turn if you play Savannah Highmane, your opponent will have to attack into it with both of his Dark Cultists, and you get the hyenas, and then you play another Savannah Highmane. So in 2-3 turns, you will go ahead.
It is accepting the fact that you'll take 12 damage though from this Dark Cultist, and that's why it's so powerful. The mana cost with its stats are absolutely insane. And with Holy Fire, hold on, let's see.
That's 14 points of damage.
Wow.
He can just go face. He can even play. He can ignore Savannah Highmane. This is an aggro
my
priest.
Goodness.
What is going on?
Wow. And this is the start that the priest really needs to kind of rush things down, compared to just having only spells early on.
And look at this. A lot of people said that Dark Cultist is one of the strongest card in Naxxramas, and here you can see the full power. Oh, this is the tracking.
Yeah. Seems like he's gonna choose for Animal Companion, so that way he can get something like Huffer.
Yeah, but it still doesn't save him. With the Dark Cultist, he wasn't able to deal with those minions one for one, and right now he's Hype is finding himself in a situation where he is not able to deal with this board effectively, And he only has 3 points of health.
Wow, this is a kind of a cool editing trick to show what's selected. Although the choice isn't exactly still that obvious for Hyped, because how do you kind of capitalize on everything? You still don't have Hunter's Mark and Unleash the Hounds. You'll need a Taunter of some kind. No Houndmaster is really difficult to deal with too.
Yeah, I really would like to commend our production team in here, because most of the times we just miss the tracking, and here we could really see it and see the decision, especially because Hype was taking his time to pick a card.
I don't see a way out of this for Hyped. He's just going to concede, and Hunter has been taken down by the Priest. And Haibara starts off to a 1-0 lead. One game
shocked.
closer to go to top 4.
Kami is speechless. Everybody was afraid of Hunter. Everybody banned Hunter. And Haibara is the guy who said, hey, I'm fine.
And start impressing us with his mage deck building again.
We can see Hyped having Arcane Intellect, which is pretty important. He also has a coin, which might be helpful for him, so he will be able to draw cards. On the other hand, Haibara has a pretty bad hand. Northside Cleric is okay, but double Holy Fire is not something you want to have in your opening hand. You want those Dark Cultists. You want Injured Blade Master. Maybe he will be able to top deck them, but right now it looks grim.
Yeah, these are two of the most expensive cards in Priest's deck. Pretty unfortunate to get them. Another really expensive card. All right,
Yes,
well.
bluffing, kind of.
Yeah, I guess at this point it's a little custom for Haibara to do it. At least he's doing it in the right order too, not attacking and then healing him. Some people have done that in the sake of BM. All right, what does this communicate to Haibara, by the way? Frostbolt as a response, passive moves, and it seems like when he's gonna see things like Arcane Intellect, maybe it's a Frost Mage, but he has double Twilight Drake.
This might be devastating for Haibara. But he got to top deck. He has a 4/7 now.
And Duplicate.
Okay,
hey, what did I tell
it.
you, Nemch, about what this deck can do, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'm starting to lean towards your assumption that this deck is actually favored.
Well, to be fair, he got the exact card combinations that I was talking about that could give it a hard time. And for good reason, too.
Right now, Haibara is not even able to remove this guy. He's missing 1 mana. Lothab is an okay play. Just, you just denied the duplicate, I guess.
Well, he wasn't going to play Duplicate anyways. I feel like, Twilight Drake here is also just as good. Sludge Belcher is very weak and susceptible to the Lothab, so Twilight Drake makes the most sense.
It would be so funny if Hype actually plays a coin in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, funny because then we can make fun of him for it.
Because...
But I guess not funny in the sense of, well, he ends up making a fool out of himself. All right, well, he's going to go for Sludge Belcher, which makes more sense mana curve-wise. Oh, and you know what? It prevents his ability to kind of push through anyways and lose a Drake for free.
By the way, the Drake is going down anyway. The question is how... Wait, is it? Oh yeah, it is. Would you Holy Fire a Drake?
Neither really matters, I think. Right?
Can you do anything with the Holy Nova here? That's the question.
Oh. You can actually heal. I'm trying to think if there's like a Holy Nova play here.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it as well.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, I think it's a Holy Fire into a Drake, and then just kill the 3/5 with Lothab and finish the 1/2 with a 4/7. You clear the board, and you still have a good minion.
It's just worth thinking about just to make sure to cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yeah, I guess the order doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Okay. So one Twilight Drake is out. There's still a second one and the duplicate.
So Twilight Drake coin duplicate would just, they give Priest nightmares. Or if you're feeling confident in your ability to kind of fight everything, you can just kind of play passively. You do have double Molten Giant.
I do like Twilight Drake coin duplicate a lot. Knowing how hard it is for priests to deal with Twilight Drakes. If you actually do this play, it's a pretty good call. And you are still safe on 25. It's even if the 4/6 attacks into you, Hype sees, he has to see this play. This is like the best option possible.
Well, you're always looking to play your Twilight Drakes against Priest in general as fast as you can. 4/9 and 2 more potentially coming in. Haibara is a little bit wary now. It's like, well, what if this is Mirror Entity? What if this is Counterspell? Gosh, well, he's going to find out it's not Counterspell, and he can't kill off this Drake immediately. Although now he has duplicate of his own.
And the Arcane Intellect as well. This is pretty good for Haibara.
Kind of amusing. Duplicate, and then we have a battle of the 4 attack creatures. But the problem is that the injured Blade Master will not be able to keep up health-wise. And the quality of what Hype's able to push out, like Sylvanas coming out next turn, that's also a card that I don't think Hype minds getting duplicated.
That's why duplicate is so good in this kind of deck that Hyped brought to this tournament. Because instead of getting just small guys like Loot Hoarder or Undertaker or Mana Worm, you are always getting something good.
Then guess what comes out after Sylvanas? Ragnaros? Hey, I don't think he cares about that getting duplicate. Like, there's just so many threats that Priest only has so many Shadow Word deaths.
What is Haibara thinking?
He's thinking, why is my wrist hurt so much? I should probably go get that checked out.
Yeah, the question about duplicate or Arcane Intellect is like, is he fine with with Injured Blade Master returning to his hand in 2 copies?
Yeah. Do you want your 2 cards to be Injured Blade Masters, or do you want your 2 cards to be from your deck? Pretty much the question at hand.
I think Injured Blade Master is fine, actually. Oh, wait, is this a Ragnaros turn? It's not.
Ragnaros can go so badly.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do this. You need to remove Sylvanas first. How can you remove Sylvanas?
Also, because you don't know if this is Mirror Entity. And if it's Mirror Entity and it copies Ragnaros, well...
I guess you can safely play Wild Pyromancer. And if it's not Mirror Entity, then... Well, Duplicate is so tough in here, because you could play Wild Pyromancer, attack with a 4/6 into 5/5. And... I don't know, play Arcane Intellect.
He is so afraid. No, he is so afraid of this being Mirror Entity. Because then again, you summon Ragnaros for your opponent. It also could hypothetically go well, where you kill off your opponent's Ragnaros.
Actually, whatever this is, Ragnaros is a bad play because of Sylvanas.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Wait, is he going to get roped?
No, come on. It looks like he's going to go for Ragnaros, but I can't see why Ragnaros would be optimal in this situation as opposed to some other Wild Pyromancer play, and at least like cutting off your losses. But he's going to go for it, and Rag hits the face.
Oh my god. And now the Molten Giants are
this
enabled.
Board is going to be insane. Hyped cannot be... I mean, he is salivating at this moment. My god.
He's rolling his eyes. So wait a moment.
All right, so
you
can double Molten Giant, polymorph the 4/6, and then kill it off with Hero Power, and then steal Ragnaros, and most likely you'll duplicate the Sheeps.
Yeah.
I like it. Make it happen, Hype. This is how I want. I want to give him 2 Sheeps. Okay. Well, he's gonna go for this play instead. It's a lot more solid because you don't use polymorph unnecessarily.
Yeah, but still, he has so many good plays in here. The thing I'm thinking about is there a way for a priest to actually clear when there is double Molten Giants on the board?
Oh, this also. Oh, yeah. I mean, this also makes sense too. Granted that he wants to keep Ragnaros as healthy as possible.
Haibara is back to excitement level, by the way.
Yeah, he's he's got the damage. He's got the damage in hand, but he doesn't have the mana to pull off everything.
Hyped is under pressure now because Okenai plus double circle of healing is a board clear.
That is true, but two of his cards are injured Blade Masters. So the chances of that are kind of low. Arcane Intellect, also a card that can draw into things. You really have to go for Circle of Healing here. But do you include Wild Pyromancers in the mix? Nope, it looks like Haibara whiffs. And he is looking at death next turn. He
Yeah,
didn't draw any Shadow Word Deaths or anything.
Is there anything he can do?
No, he needed like Shadow Word Death to be one card. No, he needed Shadow Word Death to be both those cards to survive.
Possibly he can remove the 4/5, and then he will get. Well, he will be dead. Isn't he dead whatever he does now? There's
Pretty
a polymorph.
much so. I think
Yeah,
because there's polymorph, and polymorph can just push through. And from that point on, Hyped is able to just run away with the game. So the E series has been evened, and Hyped once again showing that Mage should not be discounted from the metagame, especially if you're able to ban Hunter.
Well played.
Oh yeah, Mage is super strong if Hunter is actually banned.
Wow, BM, he kills the sheep.
I really like the fact how Hyped is using Molten Giants with no Taunt Givers. He's using them specifically as damage dealers.
I'm down to a best of 3.
For it.
And, Hyped's going to be looking for those draw cards early on. He's got Twilight Drake off the top, which is important.
And Mad Scientist, which is also a great card. And Arcane Intellect, it seems like a perfect start for Hype. And
Haibara needs a little bit more. He needs his Execute to kind of push through, but at least he has something to do early game. Wow.
Well, Armor Smith is always nice. Armor Smith and a weapon and Lothab. Lothab is a pretty good card versus mages in general. But here, he even gets a duplicate. Oh my god.
He got double Arcane Intellect, Duplicate, and Twilight Drakes.
Sick. This is a sick hand. I'm not even sure if there is a better setup for Hype right now.
Yeah, the Mad Scientist could pull out a really important secret too. Like Duplicate, and then he coins out Twilight Drakes. Gosh, that could be so disgusting. It depends on how things pan out.
Not anymore.
Oh. I guess he's gonna pull Ice Blocks then.
Do you cast Duplicate now? I don't think so. I think it's still well, do you coin out the Drake? That's the thing.
The Drake or the Water Elemental, honestly. Water
Yeah,
Elemental
that's a
kind
good
of baits
question.
out Execute.
I think it's a question like, what would you like to get from Duplicate later on? And I feel like I would probably prefer Water Elementals because they are so annoying versus Warrior. It's really about like, okay, I coin out one creature here, and then I will cast the Duplicate after that. Is it possible for this minion to survive? Yeah, I think Water Elemental is actually a good decision.
All right. Well, Hyped also makes it so, let's see, what he attacked here, so that way can't use Cruel Taskmaster, or he wants the Mad Science to proc. Either way, he's comfortable with giving his opponent 1 extra armor. And Haibara top decks Execute, which is an important card to have, especially against the incoming barrage of Twilight Drakes.
Yeah, Execute is so important because he will be able to deal with the Water Elemental right here before the Duplicate is being played. And I'm sure that Hype really wanted the Water Elemental to stay alive so that he can cast the Duplicate and then get more copies of it.
What now?
All right, well, Haibara seems like he wants...
Going to play a weapon.
Yeah. I thought he looked like he was going to signal to kill the Mad Scientist, but I'm like, why not just use the Death Spite here? Ice Block, by the way, will come out here for Hyped. He doesn't even have to guess what it is. There's only 4 secrets in his deck, 2 ice blocks and 2 duplicates. And this is interesting because now Haibara realizes, well, wait, he also has secrets in his deck that aren't duplicates.
True. This is new, so now he will have to play around. Lothab, a pretty strong card.
Oh, yeah. It's like he can't play duplicate immediately, but it's okay because he still has Sludge Belcher.
A very strong turn 5 play, and he's getting ahead with his board. 4-5 Drake, a 3-5 Sludge Belcher, and Haibara still doesn't know which secret is that. Is it a duplicate? Is it Nice Block? A counter spell?
Well, it can't be Mirror Entity because he just played Lotheb and he kind of snap called that. He's starting to get familiar with his mage deck, which is very critical, so that way you're not surprised anymore about what's coming out.
He is going to clear in here. But he's getting low on cards, and there is no way for him to draw anymore. So he will be depending on a top deck. On the other hand, Hyped, he has a lot of drawing potential, and he's fine dropping low because of those Molten Giants. I would use another intellect. Why not? This is an easy turn.
Job's done.
All right,
Crossbow
so
looked
everything
pretty
comes
nice.
2 by 2, 2 pairs of freezes, 2 giants, 2 doomsayers, Hyped Arc, ready to set sail.
Armor made to fit.
True. It's not being flooded right now with all the minions. And Frostbolt is pretty nice for Lothab.
Well, this one's gonna last a lot shorter than 40 days, that's for sure. Alright, Doomsayer comes out, which makes total sense. Force your opponent to have something to kill it, but even then, he already used 1 execute.
Going to draw into something that's good versus Doomsayer.
Hmm.
I guess not. And playing
Nope.
Kern here is super tricky.
Man, unless you want to completely go YOLO and brawl to let Armor Smith win.
And you definitely not do it because this is a control v control matchup again, and
Yep.
you just have time. You can play Fireworks if you really want to.
Yeah, Harrison Jones not that common in Mage. Like, even in those control mages, they really don't have the spot for something like Harrison Jones. They'd rather have something like Azure Drake to give him a draw. But he chooses to hold it anyways. He's got enough mana to play with on the next turn, so it's kind of inconsequential either way. Wow, Hyped hits none of his minions. That's a little bit bad for him because now he lost an opportunity to reset after Doomsayer.
And that's actually super weird because his deck is basically built for minions. Like there's a lot of minions that he could normally play, and he just didn't draw into any of them.
All right, Haibara chooses the shield block. A little bit of a sequence error, but not of a big consequence because it doesn't look like it'll change much.
Gets the Sludge Belcher, but then, well,
Then
I
you
guess
polymorph.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still like you don't need 6 mana for a polymorph. You don't necessarily need to kill the sheep. It's fine if you just create a 1/1 and pass.
Yeah.
Remember, never underestimate the sheep.
Well, in this one, I think it's okay unless you get nightmared by your Sarah or something, and then all of a sudden you're facing like a 6/6 sheep. I think it's okay to kind of underestimate this one.
Let the pain
Well, it's still golden.
back to work.
So Haibara decides to draw more cards, which is pretty reasonable. His hand is not that good, and he needs something to be able to push through this Belcher and deal more damage. He needs a way to win. He needs a clear strategy how to win this game. Right now, it looks pretty weird with 2 secrets and a Sludge Belcher that he can't kill.
Well, he knows one of them is duplicate for sure. I think the other one he's suspecting is Ice Block. If you see Molten Giants, I think Ice Block is a very good conclusion, even though he hasn't seen it activated quite yet. The question is whether or not you're able to get away with playing Acolyte here so you can get the mana out ahead of time, but then if you play something like Flame Strike, or even worse, like another Frost Nova Doomsayer, you get no draws off of this.
Oh yeah, Frost Nova Doomsayer would be devastating, but in case of Flame Strike, you're fine because you're just getting another card.
True.
So the sheep is down.
Oh no. Somebody alert the presses. Ooh, Alex Straza off the top. That's not too bad either.
Oh,
Although it's
this is
funny
so
if you
much
have two
damage.
Alex Strazas in your hand.
Yeah. There was this situation once in a tournament when a player couldn't play Alex Straza because it was bad in both ways, like healing your opponent or just dealing damage to yourself. I
Yeah,
think
he
it
was at
was
like 28 health and his opponent's at like 5.
yes. It's something Alex Straza. So you can create those weird situations here, but Duplicate is going to trigger with the Sludge Belcher. And this gives Hype a lot of hand quality. Like, those cards are so good, especially that he is at 10 mana points.
You want to use Faceless Heroes at 8/8 before you execute it?
Why not? Think about it. Well,
Yeah, what I like is that you often can't really get Faceless on your own creatures, but you can kind of use it to answer big threats while using your own removal.
well, you know, you clear the board and you get an 8/8. I like this setup. It's obviously tempting to be able to faceless your own Ragnaros, but I prefer to have an 8/8 to bait out removal and then play my Ragnaros after removal actually is being used. And you already seen one polymorph being used on Kern. I'll definitely use faceless.
Okay, well, he chooses to go for an even more defensive play. Seems like the unstable Ghoul has made an appearance. And Hype can kind of just continue building up, and that's what Duplicate gives him a lot of extra strength. Oh,
Doomsayer.
Doomsayer. Nah, I think Sludge Belchers are just way too strong here. They're
Yeah,
automatically the strongest presence on the board now.
this board is pretty sick with double Sludge Belcher. And again, those cards are outside of his deck. Got them for free.
Well, it cost 1 deck slot with Duplicate, but yes, it's a way to continue to put on pressure.
I feel like Duplicate on Sludge Belcher is so strong with regards to the overall card and board quality. Normally, your opponent has to use so many cards to deal with this and the tokens that they produce.
Yeah, it's often kind of like a miniature version of Karen in a way, but you can slide 2 of them on the same turn, and then copy them and like force out a bunch of removal. The 3 attack and 5 health is just the perfect balance without making it way too strong. Ragnaros makes an appearance, and if it hits the face, that could be bad news. Ooh,
He has a
the face could
Belcher.
have activated the Giants.
Yeah, that would definitely be bad news for Haibara. Now, do you Frost Nova?
I guess not.
It's just a reflex. You just play Doomsayer and hey, I need to play that Frost Nova. But hey, you don't have to. It's cool. Kern is wait, Kern? Do Kern?
Well, Karen is insurance in case this Doomsayer dies. He already used 2 executes, right? But he still has access to Shield Slam.
It's not bad. It's actually not bad because even if Doomsayer is not being destroyed, you still get a 4/5 out of it.
That sounds pretty clever to me. Haibara, by the way, he picks up 2nd Sludge Belcher, so he can also turn 10 this and play defensive and let Ragnaros snipe, but that also makes him weak. It has to have the 1 in 4 chance to hit the Doomsayer. Even if he faces Manipula on Ragnaros, it's still a 40% chance it hits where he wants.
Sure. There's a couple of really sick plays in the year. It's like you can faceless the Ragnaros and hope that actually you will kill the Doomsayer with
Yep.
double. Also, you can brawl and hope that the Doomsayer survives and destroys Bane token after the brawl. And
Oh, that's true.
there's a there's a
That's
couple of funny
sick.
plays.
That's actually really funny, where you can go for your opponent's board clear. All of them require a little bit of RNG on your side.
You can also just armor up and pass because anything else is weird.
Yeah,
I think
anything else is a little risky.
I feel like you don't want to make an RNG decision in here.
I mean, I would love it. Double Ragnaros, you go for 2 shots. Oh my goodness, he's going for it. All right.
This man is very brave.
He's dual wielding. He's even going all in sludge belchering. Oh
He's
no.
smiling. This
Dual
is
wield
so
Ragnaros.
risky. Sick.
Oh, it hits one of the sludge
Fail.
tokens.
Oh my god,
and
he
it
got
snipes
it.
the 0-7
Oh my
Doomsayer.
god. High risk, high. This was the biggest high risk, high reward play I've ever seen.
Wow.
And he actually got it. He nailed
That
it.
was 1 out of 4 chance. 1 out of 5 and 1 out of 4.
Hype will be able to duplicate his cairn, which is also pretty nice.
How does he deal with these Ragnaroses though?
Well, Doomsayers are out.
Cairn can only absorb 1 blow, and as much as you have duplicate, it still requires a lot of mana.
I'm still amazed by the Ragnaros play. So for our viewers who are watching this, if you didn't know what to feel about Haibara, I'm sure you love this guy right now.
At least he's willing to take chances. I mean, that's what it is. You're tied 1-1. You're in a series that determines whether or not you advance to the top 4. Hyped at this point is just like, he's mad at what just happened. He's like, gosh, I don't know what else to do. Like, he has to set up for a potential Flame Strike top deck.
Yeah, he's
But,
in a really weird
yeah.
spot. He can't play those Molten Giants. Blizzard doesn't do anything because those guys are just turrets and they are just firing, purging Hype by fire.
Well, he can Blizzard and Hero Power down 1 Ragnaros next turn. Oh, but then Fiery War Axe allows him to pick apart. And now it gets the situation where Hyped is going to lose his board most likely, unless there's going to be double Ragnaros to the face and put Hyped at 6.
Oh man, this board is so strong. And there still is this brawl, like even if... Okay, that's the
1.
face.
Okay. So Hyped is still kind of at a point where he can't double drop Molten Giants.
This is so... Well, he has an ice block, that's something.
That's
But
true.
here- Wait, he
And he-
can't drop the Molten. He can drop both Molten Giants and Frostbolt the Ragnaros. That's
Yeah, that's true.
still a valid play.
Seems like his only course of action, honestly. And
Double-
Haibara still has a... Let's see. If he picks up a way to activate Gromosh, like Cool Taskmaster, or anything, he can just end the game. Or not, sorry. He can proc Ice Block to set up for the end of game.
Alexstrasza is so funny. You can actually play it. And he is going to
Alexstrasza
play
on
it.
yourself.
I bring light.
Or even on him. Wow.
It doesn't make any
Alright.
sense, but
I
okay.
guess, why not? Make him live with 8 health instead of 7. A little bit of a BM finish if possible. But he hits one of the giants instead.
What is Hype going to do with this solitary Molten Giant? He will develop the board, but wait. How is he going to win from this spot? He needs a clear. He needs to get rid of this board.
What to do?
And that 1-2 slime is so annoying.
Well, the ice block will most likely be procced if he didn't use his Blizzard, so he needs to, as much as he wants to play something like Sylvanas. Ragnaros needs to hit something like the 4-5.
By the way, imagine this board. You're facing... Imagine this board in a room. You're facing a big dragon flying in the room and big Ragnaros, and you have this giant, and you want to attack into one of them, but you can't because there is a small slime blocking your way, being this giant.
Oh, it pops the ice block. So now
That's a
Hyped
nice
is
hit.
potentially on his last turn, unless a miracle comes here.
Cone of Cold.
Cone of Cold,
Sick.
but he can't stop the ice block. He can't stop the death bite from attacking him straight to the face. And Hype
it.
seems to be out of here.
Thinking of conceding.
You will
And he does concede. This is
Wow.
it. Haibara takes this game.
Hype is mad. The salt is pouring down heavily in California, as far as I can see. He is not happy with how that turned out. Calento and Trump, and is the only open qualified player to be in the top 4 of VGVN series thus far. Let's hop into the game and see how this Warrior Mirror stacks up. Both have very late game centric decks. Hype doesn't even run Brawl, by the way, just to kind of remind people once again.
Well, that's why I ranted about Brawl being important. That's
I
because he's
know.
not playing one. And the starts that those players are having are pretty good for both sides. Oh, there's a Black Knight as well. So Hype is not on a coin, but he has important cards. He has Armor Smith, he has Acolyte of Pain, Death's Bite, a pretty good start for Warrior. On the other hand, Haibara can mirror it easily with Sludge Pilcher as an addition, but then again, there's this Black Knight from Hype, so well, we can have kind of like an active start, let's say. Mostly
Really?
this matchup is like about armoring up, right?
Armor.
I'm
made
really curious why he coined out Armor Smith. Because the coin represents the ability to kind of get ahead of the curve just a little bit. Like, see it as a miniature version of Innervate, and you only get one, so the fact is that you're going to put out this early. What are you trying to get ahead of? I'm actually really curious about this.
I think he wanted to go aggro. Like he felt like
Okay.
he risked that there is no Fire War Axe. So he wanted to play Taskmaster and he wanted to start dealing damage as fast as possible. Because he has kind of like a mid-rangey hand. But right now, well, Hype was able to top deck the Fire War Axe and actually get advantage here.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you know, there are two ways to take the lines in Warrior versus Warrior. One's more aggressive, but I feel like you're coin flipping once again without any information versus you can recognize that you can be aggressive based off of a passive opening and then start to try to push and pressure. It's a risk that didn't pay off, and now Haibara basically lost this Armor Smith nothing, and he's gonna be very far behind in the card draws when this Acolyte starts popping.
Certainly in hindsight, it seems like this, but this is a difference of playstyle, and he is a player that really loves to take the risks. And this time it didn't pay it off. Last time it did pay off with Ragnaros. So you know, it's definitely a playstyle decision. Okay, and well, Hyped, thanks to that play from Haibara, Hyped is in a pretty good situation. He can remove that Armor Smith, draw a card, get 1 point of armor. He still has the Fire War Axe, and he puts himself in a pretty good position with double Sludge Belcher and that Black Knight.
I think so. The quality of his hands continuing to improve. Just needs to kind of pair together some follow-up to these drops, like late game, he'd be good. Maybe also some removal, executes, and shield slams. Meanwhile, back in Haibara's camp, it seems like he has some answers to this, but no matter what he puts out, this Acolyte still has drawn cards, and he's facing an awkward situation here.
Yeah, it's hard to say who is going to win this game at this point, but it seems like Hyped is actually having an advantage with all the cards. But this is the mid game will be important, but actually it will all come down to the big guys. Because as you can see those.
I think one thing that's really nice is that Hyped is actually getting a lot of mileage out of his smaller guys. I mean, the Acolyte, sorry, not the Acolyte, the Armor Smith actually died very easily to the Death's Bite. But because the Sludge Belcher will take the hit, it's going to allow the Acolyte to draw again. Versus, it seems like Haibara's smaller creatures really hasn't done much. He's just kind of holding it in his hand until he gets better value.
And this is the game of value right now. Just get armor, get some board, and also exhaust the removal if possible. Ramage, now his hand improved immensely, and this Black Knight is going to do a lot of work.
All right, Hype starting to continue to push his lead. And, you know, Haibara, again, it's just these small little things he's falling behind on getting the worst end of trades. And his hand still feels a little bit more on the awkward side. Now he can finally play other creatures like his Gnomish Inventor without fear of anything else. In the past, he played Gnomish Inventor, he was just afraid of it drawing cards and getting armor. But now it's like the Acolyte's drawn already. How much are you going to try to deny its last draw? There's no point. Just play the minion and draw. But now Hyped has full board presence.
Yeah, on the other hand, in Gnomish Inventor, it's not very exciting. Just a 2/4, but Hyped can actually even ignore it. He doesn't have to attack into it. The thing is, like, how much Hyped is afraid of Brawl, of a possible Brawl, because this turn, if he plays a minion, he will be overextending. And Haibara, well, he just has to play whatever. If you just armor up, is it a signal, hey, I have a brawl?
If you armor up, well, okay, you've taken a long time here. On the 2, so it's clearly like something like a 2-drop of some sort, whether it's Cruel Taskmaster or Unstable Ghoul. There's nothing else really that jumps out to mind. I don't think it shows if you have Brawl. I think it's more of indicative of what kind of 2 mana cost card you have.
Well, right now, Hyped is in a good position with a solid board and a Grommash finish. Even gets Cards and Jones for a possible weapon.
All right. Well, I like the process of setting up your own weapon, or yeah, I like the weapon for the clear.
I think the weapon is good in here.
I'm invincible.
I like weapon on turn 8. Because then you will be able to attack with it on turn 8 and attack with it on turn 9, activating Grommash as well.
Yeah, it makes sense to most be able to pressure and also answer whatever card that comes out next. Say like Loatheb or another 5 health creature, Sludge Belcher number 2 comes out. Deathbite just is so versatile. You gain armor too in the process. What can't this card do, honestly?
There is a Brawl top deck, so for Hyped it pays off that he actually used the weapon instead of overextending with something like Sludge Belcher.
That is a good point. And you know, it is one of those things where if Hype gets careless, he can throw away a lead very easily. And this Brawl can bring Haibara back in the game. Also, Ysera, one of those really important legendary cards. If you can exhaust the executes, it brings you back in the card count and gives you lots of creatures and threats to play.
I feel like in this matchup there's a lot of traps. Like, you have to really think about the possible cards and removal that your opponent might have, and weigh your options. Try to push with damage a bit, but still just keep your advantage to the certain level so that they won't be able to just swap the board on you. And it seems like Hyped is doing exactly that. Right now, well, he can kill Lotheb with a weapon, or he can just go YOLO mode as well. Wait, how much damage is
Force
this?
your opponent to have the execute.
10, 14, 18, 20 points of damage. Well,
Wow.
that's a lot.
Bring him down to 20, and if you can't deal with it, I mean, you have Grommash and Faceless next turn anyways. Oh, you gotta attack with the... okay. A slight little misstep here for Hype. Missed 1 damage.
Oh my god, the slime is dead. No.
Yeah, he missed an opportunity to sneak in 1 damage here.
Do you think he's playing around Molten Giants?
Yeah, probably, or something like that.
Well, it happens. It's you're tired. This is a second,
Oh man.
the 3rd match he's playing. And,
Yeah, you know, Haibara came off the open bracket, and then he kind of went straight into these matches, so a pretty difficult situation. He has no execute, so he has to go for the Brawl, trying to get this cool Taskmaster to win, but if this Grommash survives, that is actually game right there.
Oh my god, this is this moment.
Oh, the cool Taskmaster survives. Oh, man.
Oh my god, this RNG.
Oh, insta-call Ysera. Please give him the
Haibara
card
is
that
so
wins. That's
happy.
what he's thinking about. And then
Nightmare.
Haibara, he still needs execute. He's still not out of the woods just yet.
By the way, this is one of the traps I was talking about. You can step on it, and then you're in a really weird situation. You've dealt a lot of damage, you might feel good about it, but then again, there is a shield block, there is armor up,
Wow.
and I think it's still try to fetch something. Well, you need to execute. And
You
that's
need
it,
to
like-
execute or something to deal with Ysera. You can't just match it card for card because... Well, he did use Grommash, though, so how much are you afraid of Burst? How much can you kind of have from hand?
But Ysera is annoying though. And
True.
Ysera can give you burst. Like Ysera can give you Ysera's Awakening. Or even like a Dream is super annoying. Because then you play your endgame cards and they just get returned. Oh, Ysera.
Well, check this out. He also has Faceless and Execute. Double Execute. He's got the cards that Haibara wishes he had.
He has Alex Strauss as well.
I mean, I don't
Face
see
with
why
Ysera?
not.
Okay, I'm so
3
hyped
Yseras.
that we
Oh
are
my
actually
God.
seeing Ysera again. Like Ysera was gone from the metagame for some time. She was being used some time ago, like a couple of months ago, but then she was just gone because we had a super fast metagame. Ysera was
Oh
one of the
man.
worst cards.
Give me 3 nightmares. Oh, that'd be so crazy. It's like the slots machine. Ding, 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 ding. 3 nightmares and 15 damage.
Double Ysera is pretty nice.
Well, Haibara
Ugh.
doesn't have second brawl here, and he still doesn't have execute. This is pretty unlucky for Haibara. He doesn't have the removal he needs to deal with this. Been
How
drawing
do you
weapons.
how do you defend against double Ysera?
Well, you can shield block to see what you get. I'm actually
Second brawl.
surprised he hasn't resorted to that first. You also can use Gromosh as removal in this spot too. But he wants to, yeah, he wants to gain the armor, I guess, in case he gets shield slam.
Oh, so he's just going to play the Sludge Butcher. Well,
Is this enough damage, by the way? Well, is this enough damage?
I don't think so because
Yeah.
there's double taunts, like a 3/5 and a slime.
Yeah, Sludge Belcher again, so annoying.
Yeah, it's a great card.
Well, he couldn't deal with 2 Yseras. You think he can deal with the Ragnaros too?
I would
That belongs in a museum.
wait.
Well, I think,
playing Ragnaros in here is weird. Well, you can overextend with minions because you know one brawl is out of the way, and you would not expect your opponent to actually play double brawl.
Hyped has so many dream cards. And now he's got a speaking of dream cards, he's got a dream, so now he can sap one of those cards effectively and also push for damage. Haibara draws Ragnaros, but he still can't deal with the overall threat that he's at 18 health, and he's staring at 16 on the board.
By the way, Ysera is one of the best legendary cards in a control versus control matchup.
Oh, absolutely. This needs to hit something, but if it hits the 4/9 Ysera or
Face.
the face, it's going to be completely
so
useless, and the
bad.
hyped is going to be able to finish it off here.
This is
Certainly has a damage. He's got Kale the Zod. He can make this fancy if he wants to.
No, there's no BM. He still needs to win one more game. I guess he just counts it so that there is no mistake.
Ah, all right. 2 out of 10. Could have done way more than that. But you know what? The most important thing is he got the win. If the series is tied and we're going hands are determined, Warrior vs. Paladin, a matchup that we've discussed several times throughout today. But none more important than right now because it determines who is going to be in second place here for the group.
So this time Hype is getting a coin, and well, this hand is pretty mid-game heavy. He's getting Fire Warriors, he has the goal, which is okay, but he didn't get his Acolyte. And on the other hand, Haibara, well, this looks good with Harvest Golem and a Sludge Belcher. I like this hand.
Yeah, it's nice. It kind of misses maybe a true silver champion to curve everything else out really well, but you've got some decent early game to start off.
By the way, it's super funny that those hands actually don't mean that much. It seems like because when we are talking about aggro versus aggro matchup, the starting hand is absolutely the most important thing possible. Also, if you're playing control versus aggro, starting hand is super important. But here, the game, you know, the players will play a couple of cards. They will have some action till turn 5, but the real game starts around turn 5, turn 6. This is where they actually put their guns out, and then, well, the next turns, those are the power turns, and everything happens there. So even if you get a really bad start, if you draw into those mid-game cards, you might be able to like turn around the game and actually win in the end.
Yeah, but that also doesn't mean that the early game is unimportant whatsoever. You know, the fact that you're able to get a couple of draws of Acolyte, that you're able to fight really effectively card for card, also is really good, because then it can save you an opportunity of having to use removal. Like, say, for example, this Sludge Belcher comes out, but but then the warrior's prepared with like Cruel Taskmaster and Fiery War Axe with whatever combination comes out, then you don't have to use something like Shield Slam or Execute. You can save her something much more intimidating.
Oh yeah, certainly. It's good to have the cards and it's good to have the answers. So even though it seems like it's not that exciting in the beginning, the decisions still matter, and you need to sequence your cards in the correct order.
Then how about this decision? Is Haibara willing to drop a one-attack minion to feed the Acolyte? Another draw. It's one that's... It's, again, you don't want to give cards unnecessarily to your opponent in these control matchups because it gives them more options to pick more efficient cards for removal. And you also might run out of threats compared to them.
I think it just passed. And I feel like Haibara was in this situation for the first time and he made a good decision again. Like, the turn, a meaningful turn, like turn 3, turn 4, where the only action available to you is just hero power, or not even hero power, just pass. And it shows like that he's actually a good control player because he makes correct decisions in those key turns where a player of a lesser quality will just hero power and you know, and maybe even play unstable ghoul.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Haibara basically gave up 4 mana, but now he has ways to kind of put down a much more intimidating minion. Silencing the Acolyte feels a little bored just because of the Fiery War Axe basically collects another free card, and then the Acolyte can kind of be compensated even though it drew 1 card. So I think Sledge Belcher makes much more sense.
Yeah, I like it as well. Well, actually, the Slime will be a card that will give Hype 1 more card, so he is getting Acolyte value. But on
Hype
the other
has
hand,
some of the strongest cards coming up soon, though, and also not to mention his warrior does run Kael Thazad that we just saw. So in terms of like the late game power, it got a lot of it.
I really hope that we'll actually see this Kael Thazad in action. I'm still hungry for Kael Thazad shenanigans. And we haven't seen Kael Thazad doing much in this tournament. We've seen him once. But other than that, he was mostly staring at an empty board, looking kind of sad.
Yeah, the Kael Thazad revived the 5/5 Ancient of War, and that was pretty anticlimactic in terms of like the board impact. And you know, Admirable always called it a checkmate card, but it felt like you know, an oops card because it really didn't impact. We thought it was going to create a 5/10 taunt again.
Yeah, we hoped. And you know, it's like also interesting, and it proves that it's really important to play as many games as possible because you get those experiences. If you don't know how it works, you have to test it. You have to see it for yourself because there is no rulebook that will actually tell you, hey, Kael Thazad works like this, so the Battle Cry won't work. And it's not the exact copy of a minion. It's just a vanilla card.
All right. Haibara thinking about whether or not he wanted to drop Unstable Ghoul so that he could protect the Spellbreaker, but there's probably better uses of it. Death's Bite on the top for Hype to go again more efficient and be able to fight very.
Yeah, so Hype continues to have advantage in here with a Karn. Even though Karn is silenced, it's still a pretty good minion. And Weapon also pretty good. And he might set up the board to actually use the Kael Thazad at some point.
Yep, still a couple of turns away, but in the meantime, he sets it up so that way it's very difficult to use like choose silver and then attack with the Silver Hand Recruit to kill off the Silence Cairn. Meanwhile, Haibara draws second equality, which is, again, really important for these control matchups, so that way you're able to reset the board, but that still won't come into play for a while. And Avenging Wrath will sit there as his primary way to combo off equality, leaving him just a few choices this turn. Guardian of Kings or Aldor Peacekeeper play.
Makes me sad because then Kael Thazad is actually useless. But right now it's a hard choice for Haibara. Do you want to just play Guardian or do you want to play Peacekeeper into turn? Doesn't actually do anything because you will just lose your board. You will lose whatever you play. You put yourself in a weird situation.
Yeah, it seems like you'll lose your board in either direction because of the unstable ghoul. Like if the Garden Keems comes down, then the Death Bite does 5 damage plus whatever the unstable ghoul is, and then the Elder Peacekeeper just gets cleared by the weapon alone.
It's more about exhausting removal again. So you play those cards so that your opponent will use the Death's Bite, will deal damage, and clear, so that next turn you will be able to play Guardian. And if Guardian is cleared again, you will be able to play Ragnaros and hope there is no removal for that guy.
Okay, Hype draws into his Naxxramas, so he's got a good kind of get his win conditions in order.
He has a lot of good cards. He has Sylvanas that he can play if he really wants to. Like play Sylvanas on an empty board, especially because she will be up, behind the taunt wall. Just clear the free one and a 1/1, and attack with whatever he has. So setting up a very strong board. Obviously, this board can get equality whatever and be cleared, but then again, that's one equality out of the way, and losing this board is not that strong. So if equality is being used on Sylvanas, I would be fine with that play.
All right, well, it seems like he can get some value off Taskmaster, kill things off, and then set up for a really nice kill with the Zod.
Saving his weapon, interesting.
Oh, it makes sense. There's much bigger fish in the ocean for him to fry here.
On the other hand,
Blood
he has a second
Belchers.
weapon.
Ooh, Harrison Jones off the top for Haibara. There you go. That's a card.
Yeah, it does something. I mean, it destroys the weapon, which was saved for the better times, and you draw a card. So maybe you will be able to draw into something. It's by the
Sounds
way,
good
it's
to
funny.
me.
It's funny
But-
how you can get equality Harrison Jones in specific situations.
Full clear with Harrison Jones. What can this card not do?
He is so flexible. Okay.
You know, actually, Unstable Ghoul is really important to play around Kel'Thuzad at this time. Because if he doesn't, then everything suicides into Harrison Sage's hero powers. Then
You get a
Kel'Thuzad
Kern.
actually gets Cairn back with a Cruel Taskmaster. And you're forced to equality consecrate, but then he has full Death Rattle in effect again.
But
This is
do
a
you
good
really-
read from Haibara.
Yeah, this is a pretty sick read because now he created a situation for himself where Kel'Thuzad that just doesn't work that well. It's still a nice card, by the way.
Yeah, it's still an intimidating force. That's for sure. But it's you're still setting yourself up for an easy kill if he like two silvers and kill this Zod to a Harrison Jones with paid for himself, as well as a half of weapon charge. It doesn't feel that valuable, so he's gonna go for the Sludge Belcher. Like much better alternative.
No execute. Okay. It's funny how he wants to protect this 1/1 current. Did he forget to attack with it, by the way? I think he actually missed 1 damage.
And the history, it looks like he did attack. He attacked into the Unstable Ghoul, remember? It was his
Oh,
Cruel
yeah, sure.
Tasker for 2 damage.
Gotcha, yeah.
Alright, Lotheb is drawn for Haibara. He gets a full clear with Consecration, but then he can Lotheb on a clear board. Maybe not so bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm thinking about other options as well. If Ragnaros might be interesting in here. I guess not. I guess you want to do something else.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
Guardian.
think Lotheb is pretty decent here. Guardian's not bad either, honestly.
Well, whatever you play, it's still removal bait.
Yeah. You know, you're kind of sad, you know, if as the warrior player because you didn't get Kel'Thuzad value. But you do have something. You have a free ability to play Naxxramas anyways, and now kind of put the paladin on a must-remove turn.
Well, he will have to equality Avenging Graph.
Well, don't doubt what Haibara can do. He might go for a Ragnaros.
Oh, Okay, yeah. I mean, he can equality and attack into it. Because the 5-1 is still something that is easily removed.
He definitely needs to equality here. It's absolutely out of the question. No
Yeah,
time for YOLOs, at least in this moment, Haibara.
I guess trade is fine. Can he do something? No, he doesn't have enough mana. A fun play would be equality, then Avenging Graph, and then silence your own Lothep to get it back to 5-5. But there is not enough mana for that. I guess you
Oh,
have
is he
to go.
seriously considering Ragnaros? If he misses, he can die because of a cool Taskmaster and Gromosh, or any kind of Gromosh proc.
Do you think is Haibara actually a
Oh
mad
my
scientist?
god. Does he have... Oh, is he gonna... Oh, okay, so never mind. He's gonna quality and then Ragnaros, I guess.
No,
No,
Guardian's
he's
a
gonna
better
play safe. Alright, I like the safe play. It makes total sense. You can't die to something silly and shenanigans, and you also put out a legitimate threat.
Yeah, and Guardian's
Hype
so much
picks
better.
up Ysera off the top.
Now he can equality and Spellbreaker.
Ah, you're right. You can silence the minion that just got equality and push through, but then you're using your second equality.
But it's just a cool play, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a really cool play.
Because now you're facing the 4-12. I don't know. I mean, the 4-12 doesn't do that much, I guess. Well, it will kill the 4-3, so... I'd probably prefer to have a 5-2 on board and a 4-3, and on an empty board. But then again, you're right, like, equality is out of way, so you don't have any ways to remove stuff if it's being played. And with Avenging Graph equality, you put yourself in a situation where you can easily clear your opponent's board and push with damage.
Ah, well, I like the setup for Death's Bite, so that way you can set up for lethal next turn with Gromosh. I thought he was gonna keep the Dream in case he wanted to go. He wanted to like sap one of the taunt givers, maybe like Tyrion. But it seems like he's going for more of a defensive play here, so that he can set up a potential lethal. He still has Execute too. In fact, with Execute and Shield Slam, he should be able to kind of kill whatever taunt comes out here.
This is why Warrior is so strong, by the way. This is a sick combo. With Execute and Gromosh, he can potentially play even like a Shield Slam. He can Shield Slam a Slime. He can execute the... Wait, okay, it's action.
Needs a lot here. Haibara... He needs to equality Avenging Wrath in order to survive this turn? Or does Guardian of Kings save him?
Can you equality still? No, I don't think so. You have to keep equality. How much damage is there from Hyped? There is a weapon
There's 20.
plus Gromosh. That's 14. Yeah.
Oh, there's 21, excuse
21.
me. There's 21 damage,
21 actually.
at least with the Gromosh. And healing with Guardian of Kings would put you slightly out of range. But still doesn't improve your board position enough. Equality Avenging Wrath? Or is he going to quality Tyrion?
Equality Avenging Wrath. Do you like this play?
Well, this is the way for him to survive the best because it fully removes... Well, it almost fully removes the entire board. He actually left out this 1-1.
There's 15 points of damage incoming.
Or if he picked up the Cruel Taskmaster, that would have been game here too.
I think you actually play a Ragnaros in here. It's certain 8 points of damage, and for the next turn you'll have a lot of other options. Or do you go
I like
yellow
the damage
mode?
guaranteed. You know, I still like keeping Gromosh, Execute, and the Death Spite against whatever taunt may come. But then, are you afraid of a faceless manipulator on your own?
Well, if you have a faceless, then you'll be able to kill him with Gromosh anyway. Kill to that seems like the safest play ever.
Yeah, I think Hype realizes he's so close to potentially closing this game that he doesn't want to give up. True Silver Champion off the top for Haibara.
1 to Slime is immortal, and it will be so annoying.
This Sludge Belcher card always impresses me. Never fails.
The metagame
and this
changed
Kel'Thuzad
so much.
is immune from equality. Both equalities have been used.
Yeah, right now he only has the minions. Do you play Ragnaros here? And being Haibara, I would probably do it.
Gosh.
Ragnaros into...
If he
oh,
doesn't, it's actually, let's see. There's 4 damage. There's 21 damage coming on his way next turn, maximum.
Well, he can't play the Slash Belcher if he really wants to. You know what's scary? Like, even if Tyrion is played, it's still
It's just gonna get shield slam executed the next
yeah,
turn.
exactly, with the 1-2.
Yep.
Oh my god,
Ragnaros
he's
is
going
his best
for it.
shot. It
Needs
needs
to
to
hit
hit,
6-8.
kill the Zod. And Haibara puts it all the trust in this one card to do work for him once again. No! And
No,
that
it's-
should be game. Hype will be
That's it.
advancing to the top 4.
He wants to concede. Well played from
Oh, what a
Hyped.
such a close finish here for Haibara, as 3 series in a row, or I believe 2 out of the 3 series went the distance, and one of them was at a game 4. The guy worked tirelessly through the open bracket, but now will be in 3rd place and hyped.